Have you ever wondered why you keep returning to the same pain? Despite changing your environment, people, or circumstances, you still feel empty, hurt, and drained inside. You thought time would heal your wounds, but strangely, the further you go, the more those old pains linger, like a silent shadow trailing you. This isn't random, it's an emotional cycle where your mind, body, and soul haven't truly healed. The truth is, you can't break a cycle you don't fully understand. Emotional pain isn't just a heart's reaction. It's a profound signal from your soul that you're living out of alignment with your inner truth. Every unseen wound finds a way to resurface. Every suppressed emotion returns as an unfinished lesson. You can change jobs, partners, or cities, but if you don't transform your inner world, the cycle repeats. Not because you're weak, but because you haven't been given these 10 keys, spiritual truths powerful enough to unlock true healing. In today's video, I'll share 10 profound spiritual keys to break this recurring cycle of suffering. These aren't empty theories or fleeting encouragements. They're awakening principles that can shift how you see yourself, your pain, and your life's journey. If you're ready to dive deep within and truly transform, this is the universe's invitation to you. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe now. Here, you won't just get advice. You'll gain tools to change yourself from the roots up. Number 1, pain is not a punishment, it's a portal. We grow up in a world that makes us believe pain is punishment. When something bad happens, we ask, what did I do wrong? Why is this happening to me? Or worse, am I unworthy of happiness? These thoughts distort our self-perception, drowning our soul in guilt, fear, and shame. But the truth is, pain isn't punishment. It's an invitation. It's a portal to a deeper part of yourself you haven't touched, too busy avoiding, too rushed to feel, or too scared to face. Pain doesn't come to weaken you. It comes to crack the outer shell, the ego you thought was you, so you can find the real you inside. Think of a seed. Before it grows into a tree, its shell must split. That splitting isn't pleasant, but without it, there's no life. Similarly, your soul sometimes needs pain, not to harm you, but to wake you from emotional numbness and start a deeper inner journey. Pain isn't the end. It's the start of a new chapter. In the moments you feel you can't endure, you're being opened to become bigger, stronger, more awake. You might be facing a nameless pain, a loss, a breakup, a betrayal, or an indescribable emptiness. It may feel like everything's collapsing, but look closer. What's really falling? The old you, old beliefs, old ways you defined yourself. When those layers crumble, what remains? You, pure, authentic, needing no explanation or defense. Pain doesn't steal you. It strips away what you no longer need, clearing space for something new to be born. We often try to escape pain. We get busier, numb ourselves with social media, food, substances, or fleeting relationships. But the more we run, the more pain follows. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to complete you, to make you hear the inner voice you've ignored, to face the parts of yourself you've rejected. Only by bravely walking through pain, not around it, do you find true peace. Some lessons are only learned in darkness. Some depths of your soul only emerge when external lights go out. When there's no one to cling to, no role to play, you're left with just you and the truth. Pain is the lesson your soul chose to remember who you are. It's not a sentence, it's light. But you only see that light by stepping into and through it. Something magical happens when you shift how you view pain. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a learner on a spiritual journey. Once you learn the lesson, the pain's purpose is fulfilled, and it fades. So instead of asking, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of cursing pain, Thank it for opening a new space within you, where you can be freer, truer, and love yourself more wholly. Pain is a portal. Only you can decide to step through or stay outside forever. If you're in a season of suffering, let this video remind you, you're not alone, and this pain isn't meaningless. It's an invitation to return to yourself, and you're strong enough to walk through. If this message touches your heart, comment below. I'm stepping through the portal as a commitment to your healing journey. Hit like to spread this message to others in need. Subscribe if this spiritual journey feels worth continuing. Each day you'll find not just advice, but real keys for deep inner transformation. Number 2, what you resist persists. We often believe that if we ignore pain or avoid it long enough, it will vanish. But ironically, what you push away clings tighter. The saying, "what you resist persists," isn't just spiritual wisdom. It's a living truth in our emotional lives. Each time you suppress a feeling, refusing to acknowledge it, it doesn't die. It sinks into your subconscious, lying dormant like a seed, waiting for a similar moment or memory to resurface as a tidal wave. You wonder why you react so intensely, not realizing that emotion never truly left. Resistance doesn't resolve pain, it prolongs it. When you say, "I don't want to feel this," you amplify that emotion's power. Your mind becomes a battlefield, one part trying to control, another yearning for release. This inner struggle exhausts you and traps you in cycles of anxiety, sadness, or anger with no clear exit. Instead of resisting, practice allowance. Let the pain be present. Sit, breathe deeply, and say to yourself, "I accept this feeling." You'll be surprised when you stop fighting, the pain begins to soften. Not because it's erased, but because it's been seen. The magic is, emotions only need to be felt, not controlled. When you let them flow through you without judgment, they pass like a gentle breeze. What you resist holds you. What you accept frees you. Many confuse accepting emotions with becoming their victim. They fear that allowing pain in will overwhelm them. But resistance is what sinks you deeper. You can't move past what you won't face. Like a physical wound, if you cover it without cleaning, it festers. Your soul is the same. Healing doesn't come from plastering on false positivity, but from bravely facing your deepest hurts. Recall times you felt insecure, hurt, or overreacted. Likely it wasn't the first time you felt that way. Those are echoes of unhealed emotions. The more you suppress, the more they return. A stray comment, a glance, a silence can unleash a flood. Not because the present is so heavy, but because the past remains unhealed. The beauty is you don't need to control everything to find peace. Just be present with whatever emotion arises, without labeling it right or wrong, without pushing or clinging. When you sit with sadness without rushing to banish it, you begin to find freedom. When you breathe through anger without letting it drive you, you enter awareness. In those awake moments, old emotional cycles start to dissolve. You're no longer a victim of your feelings. You're an observer, choosing conscious responses. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up on change. It means stopping the fight against the present moment's truth. From that acceptance, real change begins. That's why spiritually mature people carry a quiet strength. They don't scream to release pain or pretend to be okay for love. They stay with themselves in light and dark, healing in the deepest way. If you're facing an emotion you want to push away, try something different. Instead of rejecting it, invite it to sit with you in silence. Observe it like you would a crying child. You'll see, when understood, it no longer needs to scream for attention. Pain is the same. When heard, it softens and fades. Remember, it's not the emotion that exhausts you. It's the effort to deny it. The more you resist, the more you're trapped. But when you relax, when you open to acceptance, in that softness you find strength. True strength isn't controlling everything. It's finding peace amid what you can't control. If this resonates with your journey, share in the comments the emotion you faced recently. It's not just venting, it's healing. Hit like if you find value and want to spread this understanding. Subscribe to continue exploring spirituality, emotions, and inner freedom. In the videos ahead, we'll dive deeper into the layers of consciousness you may not yet have unlocked. Number 3, letting go hurts less than holding on. We often think the greatest pain comes from letting go. Ending a relationship that was once your world, abandoning a dream that once burned bright, or leaving a place you called home. These feel terrifying. But the truth is, the deepest, most lingering pain doesn't come from releasing. It comes from clinging to what no longer fits. The exhaustion stems from living in limbo, not fully in the past, but not yet in the future. It's like gripping a rope being pulled hard. The tighter you hold, the more your hands bleed. Holding on to something that's drained its purpose in your life is like carrying a suitcase full of stones while trying to swim across a river. You think if you try harder, things might return to how they were. But you don't realize what you're clinging to isn't reality anymore. It's a memory, an expectation, a ghost of what was. Each day, you lose more energy trying to preserve something that's no longer you, no longer now. Letting go isn't weakness. It demands profound courage. Courage to face the void, to walk through the fear of loss, to say, I deserve better, even if I don't yet know what that is. Many hold on to toxic relationships, outdated roles, or painful stories, thinking letting go means losing themselves. But you don't lose yourself by releasing. You lose only what no longer belongs. You find yourself when you dare to let go. Imagine climbing a cliff. Halfway up, the path grows perilous. You notice your old rope is fraying. You have two choices: cling to it out of fear of falling, or release it to grab a stronger, safer rope. Many of us hold on, not because it's good, but because it's familiar. That familiarity causes a slow, painful fall instead of stepping into freedom. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It's acknowledging that some things have fulfilled their role. A person came to teach you about love or self-respect. An experience helped you grow. A wound forced you to look at yourself. Be grateful for them, then gently set them down. Don't drag along lessons already learned. You don't need to carry ghosts to prove you loved deeply or endured enough. Sometimes the strongest heart is shown in the quiet acceptance of goodbye. You can't embrace the new while your hands are full of the old. Life doesn't work through voids. It works through replacement. To let the miraculous in, you must make space. You must drop the heavy stone in your heart to let light flow in. Many say, I can't let go. I'm too attached. But they don't see that attachment is a chain holding them back. It's not love but fear of being left behind. Not loyalty but guilt's grip. When you let go of someone who no longer walks with your soul, you don't betray them. You're honest with yourself. When you stop chasing an old dream, you don't fail. You open the way for a new one. When you release old wounds, you don't erase the past. You honor the present. Healing isn't in prolonging what's dead, but in bravely living on, unburdened by emotional corpses. If you're in that in-between place, knowing you need to let go but lacking courage, remember, the pain of letting go is temporary, but the exhaustion of holding on is relentless. Let go once to live free forever, or cling daily in unease. You get to choose. You deserve a life unweighted by the past, unshackled by memories. Trust that on the other side of letting go is a lighter, brighter, fuller you. If you've let go of something and found strength after, share your story in the comments. Your experience could light the way for someone in darkness. Hit like to encourage others learning to release. Subscribe to continue this healing journey with me, where upcoming videos will open more doors to deep inner freedom. Number 4, Your ego holds on to hurt to stay in control. There's a paradox in healing that few recognize. Sometimes the part of you seeking peace is what traps you in suffering longest, your ego. Not all pain comes from others. Some you hold on to unconsciously because it gives your ego a sense of control amid chaos. Pain, strangely, becomes a makeshift home the ego clings to, making you feel alive, justified, or a victim needing validation. The ego fears losing control. What gives it power? The stories you repeat about your wounds. I was betrayed, abandoned, hurt. Each retelling reinforces the ego. It uses pain as an identity, turning past events into proof you're right to distrust, shut down, or stay angry. It won't let you release pain because letting go means losing the story that justifies your defenses. Without that story, the ego fears irrelevance. Observe yourself. How often do you revisit an old hurt to affirm, I was right, they were wrong? How often does someone suggesting, it's time to forgive, irritate you? That's the ego speaking. It doesn't want forgiveness. It means giving up moral superiority. It resists healing because healing means shedding the victim role. Without that role, the ego asks, who am I? The ego thrives on separation. It doesn't want you to feel connected or open-hearted. It wants you locked in a shell of defense, judgment, and doubt. Pain is its perfect tool to build walls, whispering, if you forget, you'll get hurt again. If you forgive, you're weak. You believe it, holding anger, sadness, or injustice like a shield. But that shield blocks light too, keeping others out and you from reaching yourself. Sometimes you don't hurt because of what happened, but because of the story you tell yourself about it. You replay it not to understand, but to reinforce the wound. This cycle becomes a ritual the ego demands to preserve an old identity. But what if you faced pain without interpretation? What if you sat with the feeling without rationalizing or blaming? You'd see pain as just a sensation. It comes, it goes. It doesn't define you. It isn't you. The ego, no matter how strong, loses control when you stop feeding its story. Forgiveness isn't absolving others. It's declaring you no longer want to carry the burden. You hand back to the universe what isn't yours. You choose ease over being right, peace over control. Freedom doesn't come from demanding justice from others. It comes when you stop needing the past to feel you exist. The ego will resist, making you feel weak for forgiving. But forgiveness takes greater strength. The strength of a soul that's learned its lesson and moves forward without emotional baggage. A key step in the spiritual awakening is discerning the ego's voice from the heart's. The heart wants freedom. The ego wants control. The heart wants love. The ego wants to be right. Every day you choose, hold pain to cling to a false identity, or let go to find the real you beneath the defenses. If you're realizing your ego has unconsciously held on to pain, that's a huge step. Share your thoughts in the comments, not to vent, but to release. Hit like if you see yourself in this message. Subscribe to keep unraveling defenses and wounds, returning to the spiritual freedom you deserve. Number 5, acceptance is the beginning of peace. We often believe peace comes when everything changes. When circumstances improve, people act kinder, or the past is redeemed. But peace doesn't live outside you. It begins with your inner stance toward what's happening. The first door to peace is acceptance. Without it, any effort toward peace is fragile, fleeting. You can't truly be at peace while resisting your reality. Acceptance doesn't mean agreement, giving up on change, or weakness. It's honestly acknowledging, this is what's happening. This is who they are. This is how I feel. This is the wound I carry. No sugarcoating, no denial, no avoidance. Acceptance is the bravest act of a mature soul, daring to face truth without flinching, judging, or rushing to fix it. We suffer not just from what happened, but from refusing to accept it did. You can't believe they betrayed you. You can't accept a loved one is gone. You can't face that part of you as breaking. This denial creates inner conflict, stress, sleepless nights as you fight what can't be changed. You're battling the current while life's river flows on. Acceptance is stopping the struggle against that current. You let yourself flow, not to surrender, but to stop exhausting yourself against the uncontrollable. When you accept sadness is present, you allow yourself to feel it fully, and healing begins. When you accept others won't change as you hope, you stop tying your worth to them. When you accept your past mistakes or weaknesses, you start forgiving yourself, returning to your inherent compassion. Acceptance creates space. In that space, you see clearly what's real emotion versus ego's voice. You observe instead of react, feel instead of resist. In that silence, peace begins to sprout, quietly like a breeze through leaves, like your first deep breath after months of suffocation. You realize you don't need to change the world to find peace. You just need to stop the war within. A spiritually mature person isn't emotionless. They say, "This is my feeling. I won't run from it." Not everyone can do this. But when you practice acceptance in small moments, accepting disappointment, imperfection, or incompletion, something strange happens. Those things hurt less. You no longer demand life be different to be happy. You learn to be happy in this imperfect now. If you're holding anger, hurt, or regret, try doing nothing with it. Don't fix, don't overcome. Just sit, place a hand on your heart, and say, "I see you. I accept your presence." The feeling may not vanish instantly, but when seen and acknowledged, it begins to melt. Like a child who stops crying when held, emotions soften when accepted. Acceptance doesn't stall you. It's the foundation for right change. Accepting fear frees you from its control. Accepting your true self frees you from masks. Accepting a tough phase frees you from shame. You move forward with kindness, not the burden of denial. That's the deepest maturity anyone can reach. When you see this imperfect moment is still worthy of love. If you're learning to accept, share your thoughts in the comments. You're not alone, and your story might awaken someone else. Hit like if this section helps you breathe deeper. Live slower. Subscribe to keep healing with me, where each step isn't about escaping pain, but returning to the peace already within you. Number 6, the body remembers what the mind tries to forget. You may think you've forgotten certain memories, the times you silently endured, pretended to be okay, or smiled while breaking inside. Your mind may have buried them, moving on, but your body doesn't forget. It's the temple of your soul and a storehouse for unprocessed emotional tremors. What you don't cry out as tears, your body expresses as illness. What you don't voice, it screams through fatigue, headaches, insomnia, or unexplained anxiety. This is the truth. Your body remembers everything. It's not random when you tense up at a voice resembling someone who hurt you, or when your heart races in a seemingly harmless situation. These are wordless responses, unhealed memories, emotional fragments etched in your nervous system and cells. They linger not to punish, but to remind you that something needs your gentle attention and presence. Your body doesn't lie. When your mind says, "I'm fine," but your stomach knots at a mention of an ex or you flinch at a loud noise, your body is saying, "I'm not okay." Many live disconnected between mind and body, using logic to dismiss or move past pain. But suppressed emotions don't vanish. They sink deeper, waiting to emerge, sometimes as depression, anxiety, or self-destructive behaviors you don't understand. True healing isn't convincing yourself the past is gone. It's letting your body relive and release trapped emotions. You might need to cry like a child, tremble, breathe heavily, or hold yourself and say, I'm sorry for making you endure alone so long. Healing isn't forced calm. It's embracing the chaos with love. Sometimes your body teaches this before your mind catches up. Notice how you hunch your shoulders when anxious, clench your jaw when angry, or clutch your chest when sad. These aren't random reflexes. They're how your body stores emotions. If you don't release them, they build up. Sadness becomes chest pressure, anger becomes back pain, anxiety becomes shortness of breath. These are your body's whispers begging you to listen. Don't ignore or numb them with work, caffeine, social media, or addictions. Sit, touch yourself, and ask, "Body, what are you saying?" Deep healing starts with reconnecting to your body. Breathe slowly, deeply. Walk without earphones. Close your eyes, feel tension points. Sense energy moving. Your body is a map of emotional memories. You can trace it to find pain's roots, not to analyze, but to release. Not to rationalize, but to embrace and let pass. One of the most powerful healing forms isn't words, it's movement. Dancing, stretching, trembling in meditation or yoga lets your body speak and express. When it does, your mind lightens. No longer straining to suppress, you sleep better, breathe deeper, and feel yourself returning to every cell. Your body doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to listen. It doesn't need strength, it needs gentleness. Place a hand on your heart, stomach, or shoulders where you feel pressure and say, "I'm here now." That's the most magical thing you can offer a body neglected in the race to survive. If you felt your body react to pain, your mind forgot, share your story in the comments. We're not alone. Everyone carries a body that remembers, waiting to heal. Hit like if this helps you reconnect with yourself. Subscribe to continue this awakening journey where body and mind align toward true peace. Number 7, unconscious patterns create repeated pain. If you've ever wondered why you keep falling into the same situations, relationships, or pains, despite new circumstances or people, the answer lies in your unconscious patterns. These silent, powerful scripts replay old wounds, not because life is cruel, but because your inner self is trying to heal something untouched. Until you become aware, you'll relive old pain in new forms, like a looping background song. Your unconscious mind drives 95% of your daily behavior. It holds childhood memories, unchallenged beliefs, buried emotions, and survival strategies from unsafe times. If you learned love comes with lack or control, you'll unconsciously seek people who make you prove your worth. If you felt not enough, you'll gravitate towards situations reinforcing that, seeking stability in a familiar inner framework. These patterns are like undercurrents beneath life's surface. You don't see them, but they pull you along, showing up in how you handle conflict, who you're drawn to, the limits you set, or what you avoid. They make you believe, "I can't change. This is my fate," or "I'm only suited for these people." But it's not destiny. It's an outdated program. Awareness breaks the cycle. When you pause and ask, "Why do I react so strongly? Why am I drawn to this type? Why do I feel unworthy of good things?" You start seeing the strings pulling you. That anger yesterday, it echoes childhood injustice. That distrust, it's from a betrayal you couldn't process. That missed opportunity from self-doubt. It's rooted in a long-ago criticism. You keep reliving wounds, trying to rewrite the ending. But without awareness, you repeat pain, not freedom. Awakening from these patterns isn't instant. It starts with courage to face them. You step out of the victim role and become an observer, no longer driven by unclear emotions but guided by clarity. Then you choose differently, to love despite past hurt, to speak your feelings despite old prohibitions, to pause and breathe instead of react. Each new choice chips away at old patterns. You don't need perfection, just the realization you can choose differently opens a new door. Healing means taking responsibility, not to blame yourself, but to reclaim power. Blaming the past, others, or fate keeps you led. Saying, I see this old pattern, I choose to stop, makes you the creator of your future. Pain becomes a lesson, not a sentence. A turning point, not a loop. Those patterns once protected you. They're not enemies, but relics of a scared child who lacked or learned to survive. As an adult, you can face them with love, not resistance, saying, thank you for protecting me. I don't need to fight anymore. I want to live true. If you've noticed an unconscious pattern repeating in your life, share it in the comments. Writing it out can be a powerful healing step. Hit like if this helps you see yourself clearer. Subscribe to continue exploring your inner world, moving from being ruled by the past to living in true awareness and freedom. Number 8, your identity is not your wound. We often confuse our wounds with who we are. We say, I'm the unlovable one, I'm the abandoned one, I'm the unworthy one, as if past pain defines our entire being. But the truth is, you may have been hurt, lived in the shadow of rejection, or faced failure. But you are not those things. Your wounds are what happened to you, not who you are. Your deepest essence remains untouched by life's harshness, pure, radiant, waiting for you to return to it. But when you over-identify with pain, you build your identity around it. You become the betrayed, the broken, the failed, and unknowingly live as if that's all you are. Your choices, relationships, and reactions get shaped by an incomplete self. Carrying a wound as your identity is like wearing a tattered coat, refusing a new one, because you believe you only deserve the old. The longer you cling, the more you're bound to the past, unable to see the real you beneath the frayed fabric. Worse, you start protecting the wound like a prized possession, isolating yourself, rejecting love, avoiding opportunities, all because part of you fears losing the self shaped by pain. You weren't born to live in suffering. You're here to experience, learn, and transcend. Each wound is just a chapter, not your whole story. One day, sitting with yourself, you'll see, beneath the chaos of emotions, bitter memories, and lingering fears, lies a pristine you, waiting to be seen. You don't need to deny pain to become new, but you must separate yourself from it. You are not what they did to you. You are not your mistakes. When you untangle your identity from your wounds, you create space for freedom. Like comforting a fallen child without calling them a failure. Treat yourself with such gentleness. Encourage, uplift, help yourself rise. The challenge is, when you've carried a wound so long, you forget who you are without it. You fear that without playing the pitiful one, you'll be overlooked, or without victim, you'll lose attention. But you don't need pity to exist. You deserve love in your wholeness, not for your pain, but for the light you carry. A key step to breaking free is redefining yourself by qualities beyond pain. Ask, who am I without that anger? Who am I without needing to prove I was hurt? It may feel empty at first, but from that emptiness, you rebuild. From that silence, a stronger, lighter, freer you emerges. Rewrite your story. Say, I'm the one who survived pain and still loves life. I'm the one who fell but chooses to rise. I'm imperfect but whole. Look in the mirror each morning and whisper, I'm not what happened to me. I'm my choices today. Repeat it until you and every cell in you believe it. If you've carried a wound so long it feels inseparable, try setting it down today, even for a moment. Close your eyes, place a hand on your heart, and say, I see you. I know you hurt, but you don't define me. That's the first step to freedom, when you stop living as a victim and start living as one recovering. If this resonates, comment with the identity you want to build, not from pain, but from inner strength. Hit like if you're detaching from old stories. Subscribe to keep exploring your deepest self, where you're not defined by wounds, but reborn by the light you choose to carry. Number 9, feelings are not forever. Emotions are like waves. They rise, crest, and recede. In their intensity, we forget they're temporary. When sadness engulfs you, it feels like eternal darkness. When anger flares, you think you'll never forgive. When anxiety grips your chest, it seems you'll be trapped forever. But the truth is, emotions aren't your destiny or a sentence. They're passing waves on the shore of your consciousness. If you're patient enough to avoid reacting, fleeing, or overanalyzing, just observing, you'll see, no emotion lasts forever. The problem is, we're rarely taught to sit with emotions. From childhood, we learn to dodge sadness, suppress anger, feel ashamed of fear. We label joy, excitement, and happiness positive, and sadness, anger, or hurt negative. But emotions aren't wrong or bad. They're signals like pain from a cut, not to punish, but to alert you to pay attention, care, and heal. Sadness calls you inward. Anger signals a crossed boundary. Anxiety echoes unresolved insecurity. Instead of listening, we react. We escape into work, entertainment, substances, or relationships, trying to switch off emotions like flipping a switch. But buried emotions don't vanish. They linger in your body, building into stress, insomnia, or illness. The more you deny them, the more persistent they become. But if you bravely say, "I'm here, I'm ready to feel," something miraculous happens. Emotions pass like clouds without resistance or analysis. A profound truth in healing. Emotions need only to be witnessed, not fixed, rationalized, or banished. When you say "I'm sad" without rushing to change it, you give sadness space to dissolve. When you breathe through anger without blaming, you calm the fire within. When you sit with fear without running, you reconnect with a forgotten part of yourself. Emotions are guests. You're the host. They pass through, unless you lock them inside. Recall times you thought, "I'll never get through this," yet you did. Time passed, pain eased, you changed. You're not that person anymore. Emotions shift too. So if today feels heavy, unbearable, or endless, remember, it will pass. It must. You're not your sadness or anger. You're the one feeling them, not the feelings themselves. A key healing skill is observing emotions like waves. Instead of asking, "How do I stop being sad?" ask, "What's this sadness teaching me? Where do I feel it in my body? Can I breathe with it?" For anxiety, place a hand on your chest and say, "This isn't the truth. It's just a wave. I'm an ocean far vaster." You're never defeated by emotions, only by the stories your mind weaves around them. The beauty is, emotions are gateways back to yourself. Sitting with pain deepens you. Moving through anger without being consumed strengthens you. Loving yourself through hurt frees you. You no longer need to flee emotions. You can stand like a mountain in a storm, knowing it will pass. If you're in an emotional storm, feeling unseen or misunderstood, let this be a gentle reminder. You're not alone. Your emotions are valid, and they will pass. Breathe deeply. Hold yourself. Tell your heart, "Thank you for feeling. I'm here." If this eases your heart, comment about an emotion you're learning to move through. Hit like as a gentle hug to yourself. Subscribe to continue this healing journey, where you learn not to fear emotions, but to trust the natural rhythm of your heart. Number 10, silence is where real healing begins. In a noisy world clamoring to fill every moment with sound, attention, and speed, silence is rare and sacred. Modern life makes us uneasy with stillness. We play music on drives, scroll social media when idle, chatter to avoid emptiness, or talk to ourselves to drown out the quiet. But the tragedy is, the more we fill the void, the further we drift from ourselves. True healing doesn't happen in noise. It begins in silence, where the world's voices fade and only your soul's whisper remains. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's a state of non-reaction, non-seeking, non-escaping, simply being with what's inside you. It's when you stop analyzing or controlling and start listening. In silence, you hear what noise has drowned out: unspoken pain, forgotten joy, buried desires, or your soul's sigh for rest. Silence returns your mind to its primal state. When you sit, shut off external distractions, and let everything settle, you see endless thoughts drift like leaves on water. You don't need to fight negativity or intervene. Just observe. Beneath the turbulent waves lies a still lake, always there. That lake is your true essence, unhurt, untouched, undefined by the past. Healing doesn't come from fixing yourself. It happens when you stop and realize you're already enough, worthy of love without striving. You don't need to rush from pain. In sitting quietly with it, it begins to dissolve. Silence teaches presence, stripping away masks and stories, bringing you to your deepest truth. Those who've known deep pain often carry invisible defenses. They stay busy to avoid feeling, talk to avoid facing, or help others to avoid themselves. But silence can't be faked. In stillness, you can't hide from yourself. Old memories or buried emotions may surface, urging you to flee. Stay. Give yourself the chance to be seen. The more you run, the longer pain lingers. But a few minutes of silence daily sparks miracles. Silence is your soul's language. In wordless moments, you connect to something greater. Call it the universe, your soul, or God. In silence, you're not alone. You feel presence, support, a love beyond words. You may have searched the world for answers, only to find them within, waiting in the quiet. Practicing silence is simple. No need for mountains or caves. Just take a few minutes daily, turn off devices, sit and breathe. When thoughts chatter, observe without judgment. When emotions rise, breathe with them. Each time you choose silence over reaction, you heal an invisible wound. Each time you sit with your heart, you mend a broken connection. Don't fear silence. It's not empty. It's full of truth, where answers words can't express emerge, where your soul calls, where you stop seeking externally and find everything you need within. If life's noise exhausts you, try a quiet morning. Turn off your phone, do nothing, just be. See what arises. Don't aim to heal in that moment, just be present. If you feel a flicker of relief or connection, you're on the right path. If this resonates, comment about your experience with silence. Hit like to affirm you're choosing to return to yourself. Subscribe to continue this healing journey, where the greatest breakthroughs come not from doing more, but from sitting still and letting go. You may have lived in pain so long it feels like home. You may have carried old wounds as if they're inseparable from you. But today, you've walked with me through doors of awareness, depths of healing. The most vital truth to hold: pain doesn't define you. You're not broken, you're recovering. Healing doesn't come overnight or with fanfare. It arrives in each breath you take to be present, each choice to release rather than cling, each moment you sit with your emotions instead of fleeing. That's not weakness, it's quiet strength. Facing yourself is one of the bravest things you can do. If this message touched your heart, comment below with the insight you're carrying forward. Hit like as a sign you're on the path of awakening and healing. Share this video with someone needing a spark in their darkness. Subscribe to continue this journey back to your whole self. This isn't just a place to listen, but a place to return. You deserve to live as your true self, whole, deep, and free.